Okay. So now let's see. If I put this in bar plot, the C tab, so this is what you see over there. So the first one, the married people, you divide 320 and what? 304, like that. Okay. Of course, we can color. And in this case, if you are choosing color, it should just be 2, right? Because each bar will be divided into 2 parts. And remember, for color, you can use, let's say, red and then blue. So assuming I do this, you see it like that. What else? We've as for the S lab, Y lab, we can go up there and choose the Y lab or copy. You copy, then you paste here. And then S lab is also needed. So basically, you copy from Y lab to S lab, what we did previously, and then you put it in there. Okay, so if I run this, now they are quite labeled. But the downside of it is that I don't know which one is blue, which one is what, red. Which means you have to provide a legend. Is that okay? There must be a legend to tell us that this is represented by attorney, this one is not. Okay. So how do I do that? Well, so adding legends. All this, when we get to the grammar of graphing, you don't need to worry yourself. If it is in the ggplot framework, you will do this it will do this automatically. In the Bezier, you have to do some of these things. Okay, but it's up to you to, So I can copy this and add legends to it. So for the legend, you can also put it in this. So legend will have a name. The red is what? Let's go back and see. I think the red is 329. I think the red is a yes, right? Yeah, and then blue. Oh, no. So there we go. So yeah, this helps you to know which one is which. So if you display this, you just say that, well, represented by attorney. Yes. Or no. Okay. Let's any question. So that's a bar graph, multiple bar graph. There's one more thing that I did not talk about. Is that this is vertical, so there's horace. There's an argument called horace in the bar plot. If I go here, you'll see it. It means that should see horics, and then also beside. These are the other things you can decide. So if beside is true, it means we are going to get another the case where so that's beside. Which is almost, this one you can see which one is which quite easy. It corresponds to the one in the table, but when it is stuck, when they are a bit close, it's difficult for you to know which one is this. So that's the work of beside. And then the other one is horics. So horics, if horics is true, then it means it must be horizontal. So if you have plots, you can vary them to make sure that they are not the same. Frequency marriage. But we are wrong with the S-lam and Y-lam. You say, yeah, marital status cannot be 100 to 100. So if I want to use horizontal, then it means I need to swap the, what do we call it? This, yeah, the axis. Okay. So that's it with bar plot. That's it. And you can play around it with some of the yes. So, okay. Next will be pie chart. So pie chart just use pi. Pi, like this. Okay. Remember, for pi, we cannot use it for contingencies table like that, but it can be used for a simple table. Okay. So, for example, you remember the F tab. So we can take F tab and pass it through pi. And we'll get this. Married, divorce, and so forth. But this doesn't look nice. Right. So there is a package that you can use to get elegant pie charts and other stuff. So let's install it. It's called Plottrace. So you install this package, Plottrace. Within this, you can get the function Pi3D. So you install this package. And then you can do question like Pi3D. That gives us a pie chart in three-dimensional framework. So the function we are using is pi once you install it, you must also load it, right? Before you can have access to the Pi. Okay. Now, so put the same thing in the Pi 3D. Pi 3D F-tab. Then we're going to get a three-dimensional framework. So I need so install and load. So plot trace. Okay, then I can do question mark Pi 3D, this one. Okay. All right, so this we can copy. So copy the files, this, it was too much. Okay, so let me just, you don't need all of them. I'll add just some few that we can talk about. So just write Pi 3D and select X, right? So X will be F-tab. Then we run it. So you get something like this. Right. So it's nice, but it's also sitting in there, too small, right? In there. There are no labels as well. Is that okay? So all this we need to take care of. And that's what you see in here. So for example, the radius by default is 1. So if I want to increase it, it means I have to take a value which will be more than 1, right? Okay, so let's say 3. Which is a bit okay, right? Okay. Even the way you see it, you can actually turn it and so forth. So you have absolute control over what you want to do. There's also an argument called explode. Sometimes you need to put emphasis. So explode means just if you have a bar chart and you explode it, the sectors will be taken out, right? Like that. Okay. So by default it's 0. So if I increase it to, let's say, 0.3, it means the larger the value, the more dispersed the sectors will be. So let's see. So there it is. You've seen this, right? In graphs. Okay, so that's it. That's the meaning of explode. If I increase it to 5, it may go outside well, it's almost the same. Right. Okay. There's also labels. The height is 0.1. So height 2 you can theta is past 3. The border labels, yeah, I mean labels like this. So if I want to get the names, I'm going to use labels. Will be it will be the names of F-tab. Do you remember the names? Married and so forth. So there it is. And they are too big, right? Okay. So you, I mean, you can go on and on and on and on. So if when you go here, if you come here and you come down, there is labels, optional label position where you want them to be. Label code, label 6, the character expansion factor for the labels. So by default it's 1. If I reduce it below 1, it becomes smaller. Above 1, it becomes even bigger. Because it's big already, then it means what I need to do is to reduce the size, right? So I can come here and redo this and call it label 6. is, let's say, 0.6. Let's try 0.6 and see. There it is, which is a bit better. We can increase it maybe to 0.8. It will just be a bit larger. I think this is better. Any question? So that's it with the Python region. And that brings us to the end of our discussion on this plot. So, yeah. Any question on this? On the plots, Python. So please explore. There's a video on this. I can send it to you as well. Yeah, so explore the use of some of these things. They are very important, but we will come back to this again in our discussion on GG plot. But it's important that you know the base before you now use the Python to do it. Okay. Any question? Okay. Now let me move on. Who knows the tax system? Anybody here that knows, let's say, income tax? No one. But you all receive salary. Sometimes when they increase your salary, you realize that you are paying even more tax than before, which means you've gone into another tax bracket. Okay. Now, we don't want to waste much time, but let's assume, let's go here and check income tax brackets. Just income tax. Bands, or do they call it bands also? Ghana. Okay, so I think there's a table. Ghana revenue. What do we need from here? Okay, they are on Instagram. So then maybe I should just go to images. So why am I doing this? Well, can't we get any image that we can? Okay, so yes, so the rate. Look at this one. First 216, nil. Okay, chargeable, so nil. Next 105%, and so forth. And this will go till you get, if you exceed 3,225%. Is that okay? So if you are receiving, let's say your employer pays 3,239, you will get let's say around 17.5, right? And so forth. Okay, so let's get this. I think you can also get it over there. So 216 plus 108, then the next 25. Please, are you writing it down? We want to write a program to determine the tax. If you put the income in there, is that okay? You get that. So we encounter that. So now we say conditional statement. So I want us to use it. So please get it over there. You can maybe snap it and keep it there so that we can use that. So something like that. Okay. Okay. So now let's get back. So we want to talk about conditional statements. So sometimes something has to be done, or you have to do some computation if a condition is satisfied. Is that okay? So let's say we are writing an exam and the pass mark is 50. So if you get above 50, what is it? You pass. Below 50 is what? Fail, right? Okay. So in some cases, we can actually use some conditional statement. Okay. So what are our conditional statement? Well, the first one we can talk about is if. Okay. So if on itself is a condition. If it rains, I will not come like today. Okay. So how do we do this? Well, let's say I have score, right? And the score is 76 or 75. Okay. I can check if score is greater than 50 or greater than or equal to 50. Then we write what? Pass. Okay. What it means is that if my score is 40, nothing will be displayed. Is everybody okay with it? Okay. So first of all, let's run this. Pass. Is that okay? Now, I'm going to use score of 40. That should be failed, but nothing will be displayed because there is no other alternative. Please, are you with me? Do you understand what is going on? Yeah, if the condition is satisfied, then you move on and write what is in the curly bracket. The condition is not satisfied, so what do? You jump out. So that's it. That's what we mean by condition. And the if. Now, then we have B. We have if and else together. So in this case, I could have also said if the score is greater than or equal to 50, pass. Else, fail. That should work. So that one, what do I do? Well, I copy this, paste, and unfortunately you have to press this down. Okay, then else you can write in what? Fail. So this one, it works because the score is equal to what? 40. So it means that a check, if the score greater than 50, no. So if it is no, it comes to what? The else. Or true, false, then it goes to the else. Is everybody okay with this? Okay. So that's it with if and else. Then C. We have if else together. If else like this. Now, you see, I could have gotten like, let's say, 6 people and their scores, or even 10. Okay. I won't be able to use the if and the else to, or I cannot pass score in the if score is a vector. What do I mean? So for example, let's assume that we score is that we sample what's the name? It's marks, right? So 0 to 100, and then size is 10. So in this case, I'm going to get 10 people and their scores. Okay, so I want to check whether they passed or not. Right. I can go back and run this. I'll get an error. it will tell me that the error in if score, the condition is what? Has length greater than what? 1. Okay. It cannot take a vector. But under normal sequence, that's what we want to do. Okay, so in this case, I can use the if else together to do that. How do I do that? Well, that's simple. I'll just do if else. So, if else. So if else returns what? A value with the same shape as test. Okay, which is filled with elements selected from either yes or no. So if condition, then do this, else the no. So what do we do here? Well, let me go and show you. So if it's like this, the test will be that the score is greater than what? 50. The yes will be that what? Pass. No will be what? Fail. Is everybody okay? All right. So now let's see. We will say if else, the condition will be score greater than or equal to 50. So you can actually write that if you want to do that. Test is equal to this. It's not really needed. Once you know this, then the yes will be what? Pass. Otherwise, it's what? Fail. So this one is more compact, right? And it will work for us. And there it is. So the first person passed. The next person did not. A pass. Fail, fail, fail. And we can actually get a score. So the first person passed, the second person passed, third did not, fourth did not, fifth passed, did not also. So that's it. Any question? So that's it with this. Yes. So we've done if. That's if you have just a single condition, you just use a if. If you have two conditions, you can use the if else or the if and else or if else together, right? Each of them. Sometimes you have more than two, like the tax one. 216 plus 108 and so forth. So we'll have several of them. In that case, what do we do? Well, so that will be our D. So you can nest the if else, right? You can nest them, or you can also do if and else if, and then the last one is else. Yeah, so whichever one will be easier for you, you do it. So maybe I start with the Have you done the tax one? And remember, have I talked about functions? Not yet. Not yet. Okay. So I'll use it to introduce functions as well, and then maybe. So let's look at the tax. So tax, right? Okay. So what we are going to do is that if tax is less than, right? If it is less than or equal to 216, right? If it's less than or equal to 216, what happens? The rate is equal to 0. So rate equal to what? 0. Is that not it? Okay. Then else if. So this is also when you have multiple selection. So I go here, if it doesn't, then I go on. So the next one, the tax should be what? It should be less than or equal to 1. It was 108. Please check if 108 plus or 216. So that will be what value? 300 and what? 24. Please, are you checking? If it is less than 324, then the rate will be assigned what? What is the rate? Yes? Hey, nobody is. Everybody is busy typing. What will be the rate if the person earns 324? Or you couldn't get it? Oh. It was this one. Oh. So this is what we were using. Personal income cap band. So I think now everybody will see it. So 216, then the next 151, and so forth. So we have 5%, 10%, 17.5%, and then 25%. Is everybody okay? So this is what we are doing. So the first one, if you add your income, oh, so I should have rather be using income, not the tax. Is that okay? Yeah. So income, if your income is less than 216, no tax. If it's between 216 and 108, 5% up, and so forth. Is everybody okay with it? So I'll go back. Yes. So yeah, we are accumulating it. Yeah, but if you are 200, you won't go to the next one. That condition is satisfied, so you get whatever reward or the rate. So that's why I'm not adding it. So this should be income, right? Now, what is happening is that if income is less than 216, your tax rate is 0. Okay. And then if it is so if let's say you receive 300, the first, you are not in this group, so it will skip it and go to the next one. That one you fall within it, so it gives you the rate. Yeah, that's how this is. So this will be 0.05. Is that okay? All right. Next will be what? And please look at the way I'm organizing it. Anything apart from that, if you put all of them, it thinks that if it has ended. That's why I bring the other bracket down. Okay. So else if, and now the condition, what will that one be? So once you do this, you can just be copying and pasting. Then you change it. That will be 3, next 151, right? It was next 151. So we add 151 to this. It's going to give us 5. And then this will be 7. 4, right? 475. The rate is what? 10%. Then I do the next what? So I can do the next one. The next was 70.5. 10%. 70.5. And that was next 2,765. So we have to add that to what? The 365. 324. Is that not the case? And you get what? That should reach 3,000 roughly, or 3,000 something. 3,000. You go 3. So we are adding this to. Please, what's the value? 3,000 what? 240. Okay. 3,240. So up to here, your rate is what? 17%. Any other income, that means above this will be what? 25%. Okay. So else we have, then the else one, I don't need any condition again, because you have gone through, or that's the last one, so others, right? So that one, the rate will be what? 0.25. The rate is equal to 0.25. 0.25. Okay. So here, if I now pick somebody's income, let's say you earn 2,500. By now we know what the rate will be. So let's see. So now if I call rate, .7175. Is everybody okay with it? So that's it. Remember that in this case, we can also use it for when we have several, let's say 10 people's income. Okay, to do that, we can use the if else, but you nest it. I don't really encourage that, because it won't end. If else, your income is less than this due date. Else, the else, then it takes the other if else and goes in and on and on. It's not a good way of programming. But we will look at another way of doing it. All right. Okay. Now, so how do I automate this? You can't be running this all the time. Well, if I want to be able to do this, I want to, let's say, write a function, call it tax rate in Ghana, right? That when you put in income, it gives you the corresponding tax. And we can even actually calculate the exact tax and give it to you, right? Okay. So to do that, we will now introduce what we call functions. You remember functions? When we talked about packages, I said a package in R is what? It's a combination of either functions and data sets, sometimes only functions alone and so forth. So, for example, even now we've looked at functions. So if it's a function, It takes in argument, it gives you an output, right? Like that. Okay. So what is the structure of our function? So structure. So the function has a name. So it will have a name, and then with this assignment statement, then you need the keyword function, right? Then after that you need some arguments. Okay. Then you open square brackets, like square brackets. Then within the square bracket, you must have your statements. So here you have statements. Then you have the keyword return. Return what? The results. So the statement can also be, what do we call it? It can be computations that we do within it. Okay, and so forth. So let's see. So let's write. So GH tax. Our function's name is called GH tax, so Ghana tax. Right. So that's the name. So from what you have done, it means that we need to write out function. And as you are writing it, it will come like this. You select, right? What are the arguments? It needs what? Income. Is that not it? That's the only one. Income. Then we come over here. We open the brackets. And we can copy what we did and put it there. Is everybody okay with it? Then what are we returning? We return the rate. But we can also just return the income we use it, the rate, and the corresponding value. Do you agree? Yeah, okay. So let's do that. Let's copy what we did up here. So income. So this is our statement, right? This is what we call the statement. Then when we are done, we want to, let's say our results is a table. So it's a data.frame. And we want it to take income. Maybe before that, I can just say tax is assigned rate times income. Do you agree? That will be the tax, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. And we can round it to 2 decimal places. Usually money is in 2 decimal places. Is everybody okay with that? So now income, then I will talk about the rate. And then lastly, tax. It's assigned tax. Okay. So then the last thing we have to do is to do what? Return. So return is a keyword. And what are we returning? The table. And so forth. Okay. So after this, you can run. If you run and no error shows, then it means this is good. And now I can take GH tax and put in an income of, let's say, 3,000. And there we go. So if your income is 3,000, your rate is 0.7. I can multiply that by 100 to make it what? In percentage. People understand the percentage better. Then your tax is 5 to 5. So this is what we mean by function. And this is user-defined function. We did it ourselves. It's not something that's hard. So the function has a name, GH tax. It has the assignment. You have the function name. What is the argument? Which is what data does it take in? Okay, and then we use what we've done earlier to compute to get the rate. Once you get a rate, you can get the actual tax, and then we report it. Any question? Try and do this. And then try other values. You can put in 10,000. That was definitely 3,000. So the now one, once you run this and it works, so usually if you are running it, put your cursor at the end of the curly bracket. And then if you check your environment, you should see the Ghana tax as a function. Remember that the environment stores data in function. So if you do that, you should, if you come to environment, you should see tax, GH tax as a function. So see, mine is a GH tax. Then to run it, you give it a value. So this one, I gave it 3,000, and I got let me give it 4,500. So if you earn 4,500, your tax will be what? 1,125. If you earn, let's say, 21,000. 5,250. So the taxman is always not a friend of any person. Okay. And those in the formal sectors, they will always tax you. But in the informal sector, they will make the money you make in a day. No tax. Right? Your 1 month salary is the one, the sales for the day. Okay, yeah. So, but that's how income tax actually works. So sometimes, if you are getting to the bank, if it's just five or so Ghana, then you better not receive that salary, so that you are, because it will jump. Your tax will be more than somebody who will be earn less than you. In other words, your take home. Yeah. So that's it. Okay. But the key thing is that we know what the function is. That it has to get a name. It has to get, and the name should actually reflect what it is about. Is that okay? So to speak. Okay. Please, any question? Do you have any difficulties? We should be closing very soon. I don't want to keep you too much. Since some of you say they are traveling away. Yeah, so. Okay. Please, any question on this? Okay. Now let me let you do, and I have to give you your first assignment. You know the body mass index. So I want you to write a function from what you have done. Call it BMI function. So it should, you see the body mass index, WHO. So it is equal to your weight divided by height squared, right? Your weight should be in kilogram, height should be in meters. So let's write a function. Call it BMI function. You are doing it. That's your exercise. So let's start. We are writing a function. We call it BMI function. It should take height and weight. Once it takes this, it calculates the BMI as weight divided by what? Height squared. Like this. That's the weight divided by height squared. So let's quickly do this. Let's see how you feel. Then we close. So I think you're on Friday. Friday. It doesn't work. No, I have all those. So, that's not good. At least that too. Okay, within the week we go. Because Saturday on this. Let's do it quickly. So the name of the function is BMI function. Then what do you need? You need the keyword function. It is taking in which argument? Height and weight. And then it needs to calculate the BMI, which is weight divided by height squared. Right? And then we now output it, just maybe the BMI. And we can go on. So I'll do this when you go home. You have to now get the WHO classification. So we want you to be able to get the weight and height of people and be able to what? Tell them whether they are underweight, overweight, normal weight, and so forth. Okay, so let's do it together. Okay, so now we will say BMI, let's say underscore fun, or BMI calc. So it's like a BMI calculator. So it's a function. It will take in what? Height. It needs to take in what again? Weight. Right. So after this, what do? I open bracket and then I work in between the bracket. Now here, what do? I need to calculate the BMI, isn't it? So the BMI will be what? Weight divided by what? Height squared. Is everybody okay with it? You can also do height times height. It's up to you. Okay. But you don't just want to just calculate BMI. You want to get the weight and height and put the BMI alongside it. It makes it more informative, right? Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll say my tab will then be, so here I can use data.frame. Okay. Then I have height. I have weight. And then what again? BMI. Okay, so after this, I can return what? Tab. So what have I done now? This is to help me get the values. Okay, so I run this. Then I go and check. You see BMI fan, it worked. It's in my function. So I can now use it to get some results. So let's say somebody's height is 1.50. But so height. So maybe the person, let's take some DSA person. So weight. DSA weight, what's the minimum weight they take? Are you sure? 100? No. 80, you won't qualify. And then I can go some. It is it. Okay, I'm sure maybe 160, 170 thereabout. 160 kg. So let's see. Oh, Jesus. 71. Okay, let's go and check. I got 71.11. So you see, you don't want to also display all these decimals. Do you get it? Yeah, so I can go into my function and actually round this to how many? 2 decimal places, right? When I do that, I need to rerun the function, otherwise it won't take effect. Then I do this, so that's quite better. Okay, so now 71, I can go to the classification and check what obese, right? Which is what is expected. And of course, that contest is for obese people. So you cannot get 21 and go there. They won't take you. Okay. So what I want you to do is that when you go home, so let's say I have somebody who is 185 and the person is, let's say, 60 kg. 17.53. Okay, that it says that you are what? Underweight. So the person is 185 meters, which is 185 centimeters. But the weight is only what? 60. So it shows that the person is what? Underweight. So if you visit a nutritionist, they will now give you something to let you put on weight to meet the others. Okay. Is everybody okay with it? So basically that's what now your assignment, what you should do when we meet. So we'll try and get one more week. It means I will travel to maybe second week of May. But school is reopening May 8th. I have to leave it announcement. So May 8th. But it seems we are but this one will just be internal stuff. May 8th, yeah. The exam. So that's what I'm saying, that we may go beyond May 8th. And it means we won't have to do the second. Yeah, but okay, so the other point was that then you have done less busy. If we have that. Because this one we have the name thing for every school to agree. But second semester we want us to start because we want to be able to graduate. If we are unable to get your exam and everything done by the same, we will be in trouble. Because you graduate in February. No, that's why I'm saying when you say this because we have to make sure that we meet at the second semester. We don't want, because exams and so they want it to be uniform, like everybody is taking it. So, yeah. Otherwise, we go today, we are doing this, and the next time we are doing it. So, we have to start on May 8th. And from the way things are going, it means we will finish maybe. That will sort it out. But, maybe on the Saturday during the Easter, we will have to meet. Not here, but when you are home. So, yeah, so I think we can. It's better we get to know the things than when it is exam again. And this one, you do a project. I'll do some assignments and then once that we do in class, we can back. So I'll monitor you to do it. And I'll use it. And then I'll give you a project that you have to do it in groups. And then you submit it by. Because you are also not getting rest, I need to give you so that you can. So by next week during the East, I'll send it to you, the guidelines. Then you can start with it so that by the time you finish your exam within a week or two. But there won't be any sitting exam. But the next one we are doing, there will be sitting. So that one you are going out. So we need to make sure that you can practice. So and not that you are going to use AI and so forth. So okay. So now let's see. What did I say I was going to do? Oh, we are done. Yes, good. But I was giving you assignment. So you see the if conditions we did. You can now use that same framework to determine whether the person is underweight. So what you are going to do is that you input in a conditional statement that will now classify the person's BMI, and then you attach it. So when you return, we should have the weight, the height, the BMI value, and the classification, just like this table. Is everybody okay? No. Okay, so this one, this one, when I run this, what do you see? You see height, weight, BMI. I want the classification. But how can you classify? You need to use that conditional statement with it. If the BMI is less than 18.5, underweight. If it is less than 29, so normal weight, and so forth, like that. Okay, and then you now add it to what? As the second. So we'll see height, weight, BMI, and then the classification. Whether you are underweight, overweight, and so forth. Please, is everybody okay with it? So we are going to have 4 columns. And then lastly, let's assume that we have, let's say, weight like this. Okay, so let's just sample observations. So we are doing the last example from the weight, maybe 60 to 160, right? So we select a size of equal to, let's say, 10. Now, if you are sampling weight, do you expect to get 2 people or more than 1 people who may have the same weight? Good, yeah. So if you have to sample, do a simulation for this. Would your replace be equal to true or false? True, yeah. So this is how we generate real, like we mimic real life. So when I'm generating samples, it's not everything that you have to go and get real data. We can actually generate some from a computer, but you need to understand the principle or the processes and what you want to get. So this one, I can say replace is what? True. And it's so because we can get 2 people or more having the same. So this is the weight of the 10 people. If you do your own, you also get to get different results, right? Then height. So height, you were doing distributions, right? So I can, you know the uniform distribution. You've done uniform distribution. Yes, okay. So I can simulate height as uniform random variable. I give you the minimum and then the maximum. And I say select maybe 10, right? So let's say n, so the uniform distribution n, 10, the minimum value should be height, so let's say 1.4. And then the maximum value should be, let's say 2.2. Even if you have 2, then you are quite tall, right? So around that. So I can get this. So my height are this. So the first person, and this you can round it to 2 decimal places if you want. The first person is 1.93, then that's and so forth and so forth and so forth. Is everybody okay with this? Good. Okay. So now I can now do my BMI calculation for these people. Okay. So at the end of the day, that's what I want to get from you. Oh, I made a mistake. So height. Okay. And then we run this. Okay. So there it is. Okay. So when you finish with the other one, you'll be able to get 1.93. Let's see, I should have rounded the other one, right? So that it makes it easier. Let's say 2 decimal places. I have to do it again. Okay, there it is. Okay. So this, the first person is 2.34. 51 and so forth. So you will see that some are overweight, some will be underweight and so forth. Yes.
So if 2 people are able to get the same weight, then height, there's a possibility that 2 people can also have the same height.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was expecting to see
No, the other one I'm not sampling. I'm sampling from a distribution, so that one is in here. You can get the same. Yeah. That. So what I wanted to draw your attention here is that we can sample from values and we can sample from a distribution. Okay. So the gamma distribution, I think you have a gamma there. Right? Yeah. Okay. So that's for life, time, and so forth. So we can simulate observations from a gamma distribution. And we'll be doing some of these things in the second one, the second part of this course. When you have all these stuff. So uniform is also a good distribution to simulate from. Okay. So I think that's it with today's lecture. I'll send the script and the recording, and then you can have. Yes. Any questions? So thank you so much for the time. Yeah.